Once again, happy Mother's Day. I'm going to give a special shout out to three women who have played such a significant role in my life. One of them is my daughter, Angela, who is the mother of my granddaughter, Ashlyn. The other one is my own mother, who on the level of appearances is no longer present on this plane of existence or in this room on Sunday mornings, because she loved Unity on the Bay, and Unity on the Bay loved her. But let me just let you know, she didn't go anywhere. She remains with me constantly, and she remains with all of us constantly. And finally, one of my very best friends on the planet, the mother of my own children, Karen, back in Kansas City. So I send my love to all of them, and I send my love to all of the mothers in the room watching online this morning. I'm going to ask if you are a mother, and let me define that a little bit more clearly. If you are a biological mother, in that you've actually brought a child into the world, or if you've played the role of a maternal individual in someone's life, would you stand so we can acknowledge you? And even if you're at home, stand up so we can love you and send our appreciation in your direction. Look at all these beautiful divine creations. If you're a grandmother, would you remain standing? Look at all the beautiful grandmas. Woo! Shall we take it another step? If you're a great-great-grandmother, please remain standing. Wow. Wow. That's so beautiful. Any great-great-great-grandmothers in the room? I assure you, thank you, I assure you that whether we can see them or not, never mistake this, my friends. When we pass away from this earthly existence, in the truest sense, we don't go anywhere. So your mother, my mother, all mothers, whether they're on this plane of existence or soaring as spirit in our midst, we give thanks for all of them. The longer that I have served in this capacity of minister at Unity on the Bay, the more convinced I am that there's not one minister, there's not two ministers, there's not three ministers. There's a room full of ministers. You all minister to each other. I see this all the time. I see your spiritual maturity and brilliance reflected in your interactions and what you bring to this community and to life. From that perspective, I decided to twist things up a little bit this morning. And instead of me standing up here talking about the virtues of motherhood, which I'm really not the best source to consult with on that, I decided to invite three mothers from our own spiritual community to join us, those being Angelica Cookson, Samara Glyn, and Shante Haymore Kearney. However, yesterday we discovered that Angelica was not going to be able to be with us this morning. I'm still blessed to have Sam and Shante here. But prior to her announcing that she wasn't going to be able to be with us, Angelica said that she would like to read, when she was before you, a particular excerpt from the book The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. This shouldn't be foreign to too many of you, because I read these words every time I christen a child. And sometimes, you know, when you do something on a regular basis, it becomes kind of rote. So this morning, I really want you to take in what Gibran is telling us in these words, because in so many ways, they fly contrary to what we've learned about motherhood and parenting and children and the roles that we all play. So on behalf of Angelica Cookson, I share these words with you. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts." Mothers, any amens to that? You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, and don't even try, because they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so also he loves the bow that is stable. Thank you, Kahil Gibran, and thank you, Angelica, for sharing with us the wisdom that's contained in that short excerpt. And let's take it to the next step. Let's welcome Shante and Sam up to the platform this morning so we can learn what being a mother is really all about from firsthand experience. Amen? I, first of all, just want to let you know, dear ladies, that I have been looking forward to this morning on many fronts, not the least of which is that I have such love and appreciation and admiration for how you both come to life as individuals. And most especially, I've seen how you come to life as mothers. So I'm curious, even though mother per se is not a role that I will ever hold, I believe it is one of the most spiritually significant assignments that a soul receives when they come into this life experience. And I'm interested in knowing how being a mom has impacted your spiritual growth and development and awakening along the way. Now, though I've not been a mom, I have been a dad, so I do know that it works this way. As Gibran was just saying, we think we're the ones teaching our children, but in so many ways our children teach us. So can you share with me, and this is just an open conversation between the three of us, share with me anything you like about how being a mom has impacted you spiritually.
Good morning, Unity. Well, one thing that I have been thinking about, knowing I was going to do this with you wonderful everybody, is you mentioned it, I think Faye mentioned it, I've really come to understand, especially being here in Unity, and I started coming when my daughter Ollie was 2, maybe even not quite 2, so she's been raised here at Unity on the Bay, and I recognize it takes a village. My own spirituality has grown so much watching everybody here, you, Reverend Chris, everybody that's around me contribute to my motherhood for my daughter. The oneness of everybody around us raises her. I shouldn't take any credit, actually. I'll take some credit. But, I mean, I really just... Unity has helped me to, and spirituality has helped me to understand that everything around her is making her who she is. I'm kind of just a vessel for that.
And I appreciate your humility, Sam. I'd like to add a little piece to that, in that I hear what you're saying. It does take all of these individuals impacting a child throughout its development and growth. I also think that you are largely responsible for the creation of the environment and, in a very significant degree, the experiences that your children move through. So I credit the individuals that have supported you in your experience of motherhood, but I also credit you for being the one that's attracted all of that to make it happen the way it has. So you're a significant part of the village. Shante?
Can you repeat the question?
You know I can. Just really, how has being a mom contributed to your spiritual growth and awakening?
Well, being responsible for another life, is a really magnificent opportunity. So I remember, I'm going to take a step backwards. I remember before I met my husband, and I got a dog. My dog's name is Sophie. And at the time when I got that dog, I started really kind of shaping up my life in a different way so I could really take care of this dog and make sure that she was healthy and that she was walked and that she had all the things that she needed. And so I positioned my life, my schedule differently, right? And then fast forward several years later when my son Evan was coming into this world, it was much the same, but a lot more intentional, and the stakes were clearly higher. But just positioning my life in a way that was in integrity with how I wanted a little person to come up into this world really made me more responsible, mature, more thoughtful, slowing down more so that I can enjoy things at a deeper level, and valuing simplicity of life, I feel like, is one way that it's definitely enhanced like my spirituality. So whereas before a park would just be a green space, now a park is an adventure. It's an outing, it's an adventure, it's a learning ground, it's a place where we connect, it's a place where we disconnect from all the things. So just looking at the world in a different perspective definitely has opened up my spirituality, and that is one of the ways that being a mom has shifted that.
That's huge, though. It really is. I just want us to take that in, because if I'm hearing you correctly, it's like your experience of motherhood has made you a more conscious or aware individual. And I think this is one of the gifts that children bring into our lives that is often overlooked, because we can get into this thing of thinking that we're here to teach our children and that we need to be like solely the ones that are responsible for how they grow and how they develop, as opposed to really realizing that it's mutual, and that there's nothing like a child can open your eyes to what you're completely unaware of in any given moment, because they see with a little more wonder and maybe a little less prescription or expectation.
And I think it's very beautiful being able to do that, and not just as a mother, but when you have children around you, you kind of renew, you kind of see things again through different eyes, through their eyes, their excitement in everything, the first time they see things, the first time they experience things. And like Shante said, you re-see things, and you see things for the new and exciting and godliness that they are. Yeah. And you get to feel that with them. Yeah. And that's really wonderful.
Yeah. It really is. That's, my premise is, someone once said, children are a little closer to God. Now, we know in the absolute sense that's not actually true, but I get it. They're fresher from source, we could say. And so they're not as maybe conditioned, polluted might be too strong of a word, but by the conditional world and by authority figures and so forth. So they do see things with an air of excitement, and I love that, like seeing something for the first time. And we can all do that. We don't very often do that, but we certainly can do that. See with fresh eyes. Thank you. Are there any, with this understanding that we are teaching our children and simultaneously our children are teaching us, we're sort of teaching them the ways of the world and they're sort of teaching us the ways out of the world, I think. Is there anything in particular that you feel like you've really learned from your child that has impacted you really significantly?
So I thought about this question, and I had a story that came to mind. So my child is 6 years old, and I would say about 2 years ago when he was 4, he shared with me that he didn't like his skin color. And I was, heart dropped, stomach dropped, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? As a Black American in this country, I was like, oh, I wasn't ready for this conversation and all the things, but I kind of grounded myself, and I started asking him more questions. And why don't you like your skin color? Who told you? Does anybody say something at school, et cetera, et cetera? And he was crying and crying. And so I just gave him a chance to speak and to share. And he was like, I was like, well, what color do you wish your skin was? Like, I'm just very, very curious. Instead of, trying to get in there and redirect his thinking, just understanding what he was upset about, And through his tears, he was like, I want my skin to be rainbow colored. And I was like, what? Rainbow colored. And he was so upset that he doesn't have rainbow colored skin. And I was like, whew, first of all. And then, the lightness came to my heart, and I had to explain to him that, none of us have rainbow-colored skin.
Right.
But then he was talking about this one lizard that does have, different colored skin, and how he wants that to be what his skin looks like. But I think the deeper meaning of it is what he taught me is to be curious and to not make assumptions and to not put my assumptions onto him. So like where my mind went as, an adult, and how I heard his original thought, I was ready to get grounded in self-respect and, that we're beautiful, everyone's beautiful, etc. But he just wanted rainbow-colored skin.
Wow.
So sometimes looking deeper, looking underneath, and being curious that's really important, and that's one of the things that he's taught me. So I try to listen to him more instead of telling him what he should or shouldn't feel. I ask first, and I listen, and then I respond based on where he's at. So really trying to meet him where he's at instead of projecting my feelings or thoughts or society's thoughts onto him.
Wow. What a great gift. And how beautiful that you were perceptive, objective, and aware enough to be able to stop yourself. Because I really think the issue that causes dysfunction to continue in generation after generation is because it's so often reinforced. And that you were able to take the time and check in with yourself and say, I'm not going to go there, I'm going to make the inquiry. It's such a powerful lesson, not just with a youngster, but in life. I remember when my son Aaron was first beginning to talk, and I always thought he was a prophet. To me, I just got that. For me, he was like a prophet. He was just beginning to talk, and I used to ask him to do things, at this age, and he would turn to me and he would say, don't look at me, look at yourself. And I wanted to smack him. Because, you don't talk to your parent that way. What do you mean, don't look at me, look at yourself? But he was right. And I really think that the current generation, I know a lot of people knock the current generation that's coming up, but I really think that we are evolving, and the level of souls that are incarnating right now is pretty high. If you can acknowledge that and support it, it takes us farther than we will ever take them. Sam, anything in particular that you've been enlightened with through the education of your offspring?
I think kind of going along with what you just said, patience. I've definitely learned a lot of patience with raising my daughter. As you're saying, it's absolutely true. This world is going very, very fast. They're learning lots of things very quickly. And I've learned to be there and to be patient and to kind of just be open to whatever comes our way. And that openness from here really has allowed me to support her in her growth, again, whatever comes our way, because things are coming fast these days.
Yes, they are.
So being patient and open to support her in her learning and in her development, and working with her to try to allow her to be a good little human, to be a good big human later.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. I'm just mindful in this moment of how you both have opened yourself to lessons that you've learned from your children that are truly universal lessons in spiritual growth and development. They're universal. So I think if we walk away with nothing else this morning, I'd like to carry with me anyway this understanding that I remember when my children were very young and Karen and I were going through the divorce and I was getting counseling, and my counselor said to me, because I was very bereft over the whole situation and worried about how my children were going to survive this. I think the real worry was, how was I going to survive it? He said to me, never see your child as a victim. Always see them as a master. And that was quite a bit because of this conditioning that you're smaller than me, you're younger than me, you don't know as much as I do. But to really see our children as masters, come to support us as we support them, and as equal players, never as victims. And I think it's been incredibly beneficial in my life, and obviously in your lives as well. I really thank you for opening your hearts and sharing your experiences with all of us this morning. Was this ever a great Mother's Day message? Better than anything I ever could have come up with. Thank you so much.
Give them another round of applause, please. Sam and Shante, two of the most beautiful women that I know. I love their children, Evan and Ali. I love them. Not one gray hair. Not one gray hair between them. I don't get it. I have 2 stepchildren, and I got to color my hair every 2 days. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing. I love just watching you ladies be incredible mothers that you are. So thank you for sharing it with all of us, right? So we believe in the spiritual law of giving and receiving, and now is your opportunity to give in gratitude. There are envelopes for you. If you need one, our wonderful ushers are walking around. Raise your hand, and they will hook you up. If you'd like to go green, text GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 1-833-245-5645. That's GIVE to 1-833-245-5645. The information is on your screens at home and on the screen behind me. Set that up one time, and it really does make your life a lot easier. Remember that our text giving number has changed in the last couple of months, so just change that in your contact information, in your contacts in your phone. It makes it a lot easier. Trust me. All right, so I'm going to give you a few moments in silence to prepare your gift. During that time, just think about a mother's smile. Think about fresh cookies that maybe your mom made you. My mom didn't make me any cookies, but it's okay. All right, hold your gift or your hand to your heart, and we will bless these gifts together. Divine love that I am blesses all that I give and all that I receive. Let's take a moment to also bless the children at home and children in-house. Get our hands together. Children, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you, and we see you doing great things. Remember that we're here to pray with you, pray for you. I'm going to ask our incredible prayer chaplains to come on up, all right? Ask them to sit with you for a couple of minutes after service, all right? If something came up, okay, that's what they're here for. Now, I'm going to reiterate something that Reverend Chris said. You know, today is not a great day for a lot of people. Some people have lost their mom. Their mom has maybe transitioned, right? She's still with you. She's still here with you, all right? So maybe that's come up and you want to sit with one of the prayer chaplains. Take advantage of them. Wait a minute, that sounded wrong. Take them for a moment and sit down after service, all right? That's what we're here for. I want to thank all the incredible people that made today's service so incredible. We've got Nicole Yarley, that was our incredible musical guest, right? The lovely Miss Francis, who was our sacred server of the month. Thank you very much. The beautiful ladies, Shante and Sam, that were on our panel today for the message. And with that, I will invite Reverend Chris on up for our prayer for protection, followed by our peace song.
Thank you, Fame.
You're welcome.
All right, let's all stand. Stretch a bit. As we pray together our prayer for protection, and then we'll close with the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen.